Hi, so I just wanted to make this quick intro to this video by saying, or like giving explanation. This is more meant for the people in my community and not the DDLC community, so if you don't give a shit, just skip ahead. So to my people, the people that have known me, this is a dev commentary that me and my friend Ultra did for the DDLC mod we made called Branching Paths. We finished it and uploaded it in, I believe it was like Christmas Day or some shit. So if you're interested in playing that, although, like I said, it is a DDLC mod, so it's expected for you to have at least played Doki Doki Literature Club. I mean, you don't really have to if you don't give a shit, but I'll put the link in the description if you want to download it and play it for yourself. Otherwise, you probably won't have any interest in this aside from just hearing me talk. But yeah, so if you're interested in listening to this dev commentary and actually having it have sense and going into it unspoiled, then play the actual Branching Paths mod, which, as I said, I'll link in the description below. And well, that's it for the actual DDMC people. Hello, enjoy it or don't. I don't give a shit. He's not fucking here. He said he was fucking ready. I was. Okay. Hello, everybody, and my name is Markiplier, and I just lied to you. We're fucking dev commentary part 27. We've recorded this too many damn times, and it never worked.
Yeah, this is like take 5 at this point, I think.
I mean, and we're on top of that, we were really lazy. For context, I started playing Yakuza 6 during our initial recording, and I've beaten like 3 Yakuza games. I'm currently on fucking Lost Judgment. That's how long it's taken us to get this shit done.
Yeah, and I had a little bit of a cold, which I've been over for a couple weeks now, so I'm good and healthy.
Yeah,
so
we were just really lazy too. That should be very noted. We were just extremely lazy. But this is the dev commentary. Yay.
So to introduce myself to the audience here, my name's Ultra Star Wars Fan. I am the lead dev and writer of Doki Doki Branching Paths. I also did Doki Doki Encore, if you're all familiar with that mod. So Joel here helped. He actually wrote episode 2, kind of co-wrote it with me, and he is the coder for the entire mod here.
Yes.
So it's a pleasure to do this with you, Joel. So hopefully this take goes smoothly.
No, I mean, I cross my fingers, but I don't got a damn clue on how this is gonna go. I guess we'll.
Yeah, so Joel is using a different mic because his headset kept fucking up during the last take. So we're using, I guess, what your other.
This is my headset mic.
Or whatever.
My original mic was my $30 USB mic that was made specifically to be a microphone. I'm using my fucking headset mic that was like $15 on goddamn eBay. I meant to say I meant to say Best Buy. Why the fuck did I meant to say Best Buy. I don't know why eBay came into mind, so I said fucking eBay, but I meant to say Best Buy. But
well, I guess price really is reflective of quality these days.
With this economy,
all the good
Sleepy Joe.
All the good shit's pay basically an arm and leg for.
Yes. I guess we'll start talking about the menu and shit. The image.
Yes, let's get into this.
Wasn't that a promo image, and then we just didn't have anything to use for the main menu, so we just used the promo image?
Yeah, so, okay, so originally, obviously, I didn't want to have the title screen be the 4 girls, especially when, they're not the focal point of the story. And I didn't really know if I wanted to have, the sprites played in some kind of order, kind of like how I did for Doki Doki Encore when Agent Gold did that thing. So I wanted to do something completely different. So we already had the promo image made, which was that was made by a guy named Storm.
Oh yeah, Storm keeps popping up on my Twitter feed all the time, and I'm like, oh shit, I know him. It's insane. I'm not even that active in the DDLC community, but for whatever reason, he always sneaks his fucking way on my Twitter feed.
I don't follow him on Twitter.
Neither do I. I don't know how he keeps popping up.
I think it has something to do with mutuals or whatever. He connects Discord, Twitter. I really don't know.
Maybe, I don't know. But, it could be the goddamn FBI watching me and sticking shit like that. I mean, it's such a it's such a coincidence that Yakuza shit started getting on my fucking Twitter feed the minute I started playing Kiwami 1, but whatever.
Yeah, so yeah, Storm also did a number of CGs
Yeah.
throughout the episodes, which we'll point out what he made.
Yeah, we had a shit
But
ton
yeah,
of CG artists.
yeah, and the price was very reflective of how much we spent
Yeah,
on
yeah.
all that.
Thank God I didn't have to deal with that.
Our budget was pretty big. I don't actually have a hard number. I mean, I could probably figure it out, but I would just
Each
require a lot of
each
work and
CG
adding and
was. I mean, it wasn't
yeah.
100. I don't think each CD was each CG over 100. I know it was around that ballpark.
The
The
sprites, the
sprites
character
were, yeah.
sprites, were they were probably about 100 each,
Yeah.
give or take. CGs, I think they range anywhere from I don't know, $30 to maybe under 100. I mean, some of the
Yeah.
really good high quality ones. I mean, granted, these are all high quality, but there was one artist, I had to pay $100 for
Yeah.
some of the CGs. But I mean, and to be fair, I mean, the price is reflective in the quality.
Oh
So
God,
I mean,
yeah.
I don't think I overspent. At least in that regards, but
Yeah.
yeah, it was.
Money well
This
spent.
was a very expensive project. I will say
Yeah,
that.
no, that's. I think if we ever do a season 2, this is gonna have to be a group money effort. I don't think we can have Ultra fucking be the financer of another season of this, because I think it's fair to say
Yeah,
that this
not
cost a
with
couple
my current
grand.
situation is.
Yeah, this costs
Not with
at least 2-3 grand, I'd say. Maybe not 3 grand, but closer to 2 grand, I'd say. That does
probably.
make
I
me
mean,
wonder, what was
like I
the
said,
highest budget DDLC mod? Because I'm sure that there's a couple with pretty high budgets, but I don't know if I've ever heard of a DLC mod that went for over 1,000. I'm sure like some
I
bigger mods
think.
have.
Well, I know that there's one mod. I think it's Infinity. I almost said Infinity Penis because Savage likes to call it that. But Infinity Pens.
Oh
I
yeah, I've heard of that one.
think. I might be confused in the mod here, but I know there's this guy Captain Wario. I know his mod. I think that was 4 grand
4 grand?
or
Holy
something.
shit.
I don't know what he's spending it on. I really don't. But yeah, I think that project
It's like it's like Verbal Ace with the 50K. Half of that 4 grand just went into like a really shitty animation of him fucking the girls.
oh,
Have you seen the Verbal Ace animation?
It's like the Has-Been Hotel shit that I'm hearing about. Yeah, but anyway, so back to the mod, back to the promo image. So, I figured given what we had available, I figured that the promo image was probably the best option.
Yeah.
But getting it into the actual mod to have it displayed how it is was a fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
So
I remember that shit.
obviously, so the promo image is what you see is blown up and altered from what it is in original when we put it out on Reddit and Twitter and wherever else we put it out.
Yeah, the original promo was a lot more vertical than I remember. Or yeah,
it was. So we had to zoom in.
Yeah, no, because it just didn't fit. It just didn't fit the border for the life of us.
Yeah, if we put the original image how it was posed,
this would have been a lot of empty space.
Yeah, it would just be all on the right side, and you just see the left side is completely fucking blank. So, and actually, Joel, I think you had to make the brown part here.
Yeah, I did.
You had to make it a little. You had to drag it.
I had to make it a little thicker. So, down here, I'm using my mouse so you can't see it, but near Michael's left leg, this little piece of blue over here, that originally was just blank. So what I ended up doing is I had to go into fucking paint.net and make this entire bar a lot thicker so it just covered up that little piece, which is also why this this little brown section might look a little jagged comparative to the original, because I had to use the paint bucket tool, and then I just had to make this bar just so much thicker so it would cover up that blank spot. So even in the end, we still kind of fucked up, but oh my god, it would have saved us so much time if I just did that.
Yeah, I probably spent at night maybe about 3-4 hours just fighting with red. Yeah, the screen here.
Yeah, you went a lot longer than I did.
Over 90 tries. It's if I was a micrometer off of something, it just fuck everything up at the start. But eventually I found the.
Yeah, I went.
Yeah, eventually I found the sweet spot. But yeah, it was a very long process to get it displayed how it is, and I'm happy that.
Yeah, even I went at it for a while too.
I don't remember how long.
Yeah,
Maybe like an hour.
I personally would have liked to have like us see like the character's full body rather than cut off be the legs. But after like a certain point, I'm just like, this is as good as it's gonna
It
get.
is what
I'm
it
gonna take it.
is. It is what it
Yeah,
is.
exactly. The logo was made by another one of our artists, Kyoryii.
Also did all the sprites.
Originally, yeah, she did very phenomenal. She worked very hard on this project, and we are all obviously thankful for her and all artists. So this is actually our second logo that we did for the project because our original logo, and I don't know if you'll like kind of like just pop up screen later, Joel, but originally it wasn't like within the DDLC circle. It was just kind of like the tree like with branches like going up with kind of everything as it is. And I wanted it always to be in the DDLC circle because at least even though this is a different kind of DDLC mod, I wanted it to still at least have that DDLC feel.
Still a DDLC mod
So
at the end of the day, no matter what you fuckers say.
so
Oh my god.
yeah. So like eventually, so I pitched it to Miguel, and he was like, "Yeah, that's cool."
Yeah.
So we were able to do it. It looks beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
Personally. Originally, I remember when we were talking to Miguel about like what we wanted to do for the logo. So I mean, he mentioned that have the branches like kind of like going upwards, like the leaves falling, kind of like having the letters Doki Doki being like kind of a sky thing, kind of like blue skies, which I think maybe that's where he got the inspiration from. And then like the birds there, which I'll be honest, like at first when Spaghetto told me all that, I was kind of worried that is this adding too much to the logo? But I would say my concerns were a little misplaced there because I think it
Oh
looks
yeah.
fucking awesome.
Yeah, I could see that why that might have been an issue with there just being too much, but I think everything was pretty balanced at the end. I think we should answer this before it's asked because I feel like someone's gonna ask this why Spaghetto isn't here with us. I don't know how to exactly say. I'm just gonna say he's not really with the project anymore, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we'll talk about throughout the episodes as we do the commentary, but I'll just say at least from the outset, like after the first arc release, there was a mutual
Yeah,
partnership.
we both set parts. There it was a lot of just it was a lot of just a lot of scheduling conflicts and a lot of stuff just not working out like it could have if he just parted ways with us. So like honestly, I don't mean to say this offensively, but if he was still with the project, it would have taken quite a while. It would have taken longer to get out.
If he was still with the project, we wouldn't have been done.
Yeah.
We'd
We
still
don't
be
mean
at
this
it,
offensively. We're just stating this is what would have happened if he stayed.
Yeah, I mean, and look, I haven't really talked to him since that, but I mean, for all intents and purposes, it seems like he's doing better, and
Yeah.
I wish him the best.
Yeah, he
So,
blocked me
I mean,
for a bit,
no hard.
so shit. I mean, he unblocked me a while ago, but yeah, he had me blocked for a good month or two. But that's an entirely different story.
Yeah, I mean, I know he unfriended me on Discord, but like I still have the ability to talk to him on
He
Twitter,
unfriended a
which
lot
I
of
mean,
my
obviously, I'm
friends.
not.
He unfriended a lot of my friends. I was mutuals, or I am, with a bunch of members from his old Discord server. And yeah, no, we don't have many mutuals anymore. Like, our mutual list used to be stacked, and now it's like 4 people.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, like Spaghetto seems to have gotten things in his life in order, and I'm happy
Yeah.
that seems to be in a better place now.
Yeah.
So good for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, also just to show as well, like
Oh, yes.
with all the colors, it's like how everything is like differently colored. And all
Yes,
that
also
the
fucking
original.
painful. Oh my god, I remember that taking goddamn forever. Because Renpai didn't because everything wasn't labeled, so I'm looking through all the shit on, I can't remember which RPY file it is. I can't, I think it's options, maybe. I'm probably way off on that. But, so then there's all the colors and shit, but nothing is labeled, so I have no clue what goes to what. So it was just a very massive case of trial and error, and my god, was that a long one.
Yeah, I mean, I was happy with how all the colors look and how it all like fits in this nature vibe of the story and with branching paths. So like it was all I guess thematical, I guess. And you can also see the version here, season 1. So to go into the story a little bit before we actually jump into things. So the idea is that this was based like the idea of the project was that it was kind of like styled as its own anime. So that's why episodes, arcs, kind of things like that. So we took a lot of inspiration from that. And originally, the mod was supposed to be a web series exclusive on Spaghetto's
It
channel.
was also going to be 10 episodes
Um,
originally, but that would have not
Yeah,
worked.
a lot was gonna happen those 10 episodes. But as we were writing, I was like looking at it, and I'm
Yeah,
just
this
like,
is happening
there's
way
no
too
fucking
fast.
way that we could do this all in 10 episodes. It's just gonna be clutter. It's gonna be a
Yeah,
mess.
my
We need to
yeah.
slow stuff down, and we needed to expand the story. So I think initially we kind of kept adding like 2 episodes. So originally it was like 12, 14, and then I think we just settled it on 17.
Yeah, I think my biggest problem
So,
with the initial writings of the show was Kai was too fucking goofy. He wasn't like, like even now he has his like I don't take him as seriously, but originally in the original writing, oh my god, he was just a goober. There was no reason to take him seriously at
yeah.
all. So I think we definitely expanded on his story a bit.
Yeah, one thing that I will praise Spaghetto on is that he had a vision for the project and he had very
Oh
good
yeah,
direction for it. So like I mean, I always considered myself that I was able to write at least pretty decently well. So him offering like direction and insight helped me be a better writer and make Kai and other characters as well in more fleshed out characters. Now, we'll obviously jump into Kai when we
yeah.
meet him, but like originally, like we didn't really have like such of a big plan for his character. Like all the backstory stuff is like stuff that like I kind of like just
Yeah,
came up with, kind of on the fly
Ultra's written so
too.
much
So
backstory for the characters that just straight up isn't in the mod, or at least is hinted at, but not like fully explained. I remember he came up to me about making a fan wiki for BP that like has a better explanation of other backstories and shit, which we might get around to one day. I don't know when, but
or we could I mean we'll also like talk about it like throughout our commentary as well. Obviously, even though that we are the people who made the mod. Obviously, this is just more of us offering our input into like what went down, like behind the scenes of making these episodes, like what we were thinking, like, and to maybe expand upon some things that maybe weren't exactly 100% clear, which I don't think there's too many of that, but or just to, maybe to drop some fun facts about the
yeah,
character
I
that
haven't seen much
Austin came up with.
criticism about the mod. Maybe because it has. I mean, it's only been out for 3-4 weeks, I think, but I still haven't seen a whole
I
lot of
mean, yeah,
criticism.
we dropped it on I think
Christmas Day.
yeah, I mean, or like the early morning hours of Christmas Day.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
it was
remember.
like
Yeah.
2 in the morning because I suffered so much just getting Renpai to make this fucking I can't even get into it. It's so goddamn stupid that it took me hours, and then we were like, "Fuck it, release it uncompiled."
Yeah, like that's kind of what we originally did, and then obviously we had to fix stuff because of how we released it
Yeah, there were some
is
issues
not
there.
allowed under the subreddit guidelines, but we fixed that. So yeah, it's all kosher. So
Mm-hmm.
anyways,
I better not get a
I guess we've
goddamn
blabbered
DM
enough about.
from any goddamn mod.
I guess we've I guess we've blabbered enough about the title screen, general things. So let's get right into the episode. So that this is another thing as well I want to talk about briefly. So initially we tried to get rid of the whole like enter in name for the MC, but when we tried doing that, it's just like fucked up the whole thing. So we're like, okay, fuck it, we'll just change. But we figured out we could at least change the text. So please enter in the middle name for the MC. So that's kind of just what I came up with. So
Yeah,
let's
I
enter
remember
in my name.
I knew this before I even started working on BP because I tried to make my own mod. It was awful. Thank God I never went through with that. But I wanted the MC's name to also just be set in stone, so I tried to remove that. And when I did that, it just removed the ability to start the mod, which is so fucking weird.
Yeah, I don't know how that's all linked together in the code, but apparently it
Yeah,
fucking is.
I mean, I'm sure there's
So
a way for me to undo all that, but I am too damn lazy.
yeah, so also to talk about as well, the text box. So this was made by a good, a good guy named Steve2138 from Spaghetto Server. He did a phenomenal job with the text box and helping like kind of with the whole nature theme as well. Now that was very good. And then I believe it was another one of our artists, Kyoryii, who did the background for
I
this.
think she did a lot. I think
So
she did a lot of the
Kyoryii
backgrounds.
did Kyoryii did a shit
No, yeah,
ton as
Kira
well.
did CGs and backgrounds, but a lot of them too.
Yeah. So also to talk about the title screen selection, so I pulled inspiration from my mod Encore, which that was also partly inspired by another DDLC mod called the Festival. And in those two mods, like when you start, it's like you have like some preconditions that you can set, like kind of just like did you hang out with this girl for the festival preparations, all that? Did you like accept Sarah's confession, kind of things like that? So that inspiration carried over when we were making the crafting of the whole title screen sequence of like and how the story was like going to play out. Because even though this is a linear mod, I still wanted to have the player have at least feel like somewhat in control, even though it's not really all that much. So just something to keep them engaged.
Yeah.
I'm all for player engagement, anyways. The other source of inspiration that I got from this was from
Oh
Telltale.
yeah.
So during development, at some point, I don't remember when, but I played the Batman Telltale games, and I remember like the title screen, the episode selection screen. It's just like it's like you can like, when you first boot up the game, you can only play episode 1, but that's like you can like you unlock episode 2 and then episode 3, 4, and 5 and such. So I took that approach and applied it to branching paths. So there's obviously 17 episodes.
What?
There's 5 for the first arc, there's 5 for the second, then 3 for the third, and then 4 for the last one. So, and the episodes and the arcs unlock as progress through.
I remember in the
So yeah,
original.
that's where I got the
I
approach.
remember in the original playing the Telltale Batman series out of their entire gameography.
Yeah,
Gameography? Is that even a word?
I know. Yeah, I know that there's plenty of Telltale games, but like the Batman one, for whatever reason, like appealed to me, and I had a blast playing.
Who doesn't like
Fire.
Batman? To be fair.
Exactly, Batman.
All right, let's get to the first. We're probably only going to cover the first episode because, like, in the original recordings, we talked about the first episode for like goddamn 90 minutes. But there's so much like shit that's introduced and whatnot. So, but yeah, I think this recording is probably only going to cover episode 1, judging by our last. Oh, here's the 2 whores.
We'll talk about more about the designs later, but
I wasn't there for all that.
So,
I think one of you consulted me when it came to. I think it was Kayla's design. I don't remember what for though.
Yeah, I think the first few characters we did, it was I think Kai, Randy, Ruby.
Yeah, Ruby.
And then fucking Mr. Zawin.
Oh
One of the
yeah,
first characters
yeah.
for some reason. Yeah, the order of how we did this is kind of weird, and I don't remember exactly the order now, like what we got, which characters. But if you think of them coming in as waves, like Ruby, I think was in first wave, and then Kayla was in the second.
Yeah, I mean there were some characters that we got from other mods, like the Michael sprites were made by Storm actually. Like he wasn't, they weren't made, they were just free to use. Shiro came from, I have no clue how to say his name.
Yeah,
the Take-Two guy.
Habalaka.
Habakula? What the?
I'm saying, we'll just call him Halbal.
Take-Two guy, the guy who made Take-Two.
Yeah, sorry for butchering your name, my friend, but
you make very cool art.
So Spaghetto. Okay, so another thing as well to talk about the overall story for a sec. So Spaghetto had the idea for branching paths like way back in 2017 DLC at least. But it wasn't until 2019 where he approached me and pitched the idea. And at the time I was doing Encore still. But I did like whip up like a draft for an episode, and we didn't do much of it for like with 2 years until like the fall of 2021 when we created Joel actually to do some other projects, and then we took a look at this and we're like, hey, do we still want to do this? And we were like, yeah. So this project definitely took a long time to do, but I'm very happy that it's done now.
Yeah.
So
I remember Spaghetto came up to me and said that this was a very special project, and then the thing that fucked me the most is when Spaghetto said that I had to have sprites for Michael, because oh boy do I love it when I just get to type out a wall of dialogue with absolutely no sprites. So I was really happy, and then Spaghetto dropped the bomb that I had to use Michael sprites, or MC sprites, because this was before that we called the guy Michael, I think. No, he was always called Michael. I just didn't know that.
I believe he was, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we ever changed Michael's name. The only name we changed... God damn it! The only name... Wait, did we... the only name I remember us changing was Kayla's, because her name was originally Penelope.
Yeah, so, yeah, maybe we can also, like, throw on the original sprites as well. But
yeah
Kayla and... we'll talk about more about them as, they get...
Yeah, we're just
Kayla and Ruby
releasing...
got...
We are so bad at not speaking over
dressed.
each other. We are so bad at this.
Yeah. Yeah, Kayla and Ruby went some major redesigns during the process. but yeah, so before we get into the arc, so also talk about again the title screen selection. So the idea for that was is that I wanted to like display the what I thought were like kind of most significant characters in that arc. Because if you go back here, thankfully I have my nibbled. Like this is like the overall story, Michael and Sam. So it's like kind of like their story. Even though I would argue that the whole story is really the story of Michael and Shiro, and Sam is a major part. But Sam is a major character in her own right. Now, obviously, two characters would look the screen, so that's why it would. Maybe if we ever do future content, maybe we'll explore, adding more characters on screen with this. But at least aesthetically, like, it was, two. And even though Michael is like the main character, and Sam is like a major part of Michael's story throughout the mod, I thought it made the most sense that
I feel
Taylor
like the main character of BP
too.
can be heavily debated because Michael's not even in the mod for like half the damn thing. I think more people can consider it kind of like
I
the
would
GTA
say there's
thing.
three.
Yeah, 3 protagonists. That's
Yeah,
fair.
that's actually a good way of putting it. But yeah, I'd say that the major, if there's like two major characters, I would say it's Michael and Hero, and
Yeah.
then Sam is like a close third.
Yeah.
And that would actually how that panned out wasn't actually how
Yeah.
the writing process went. So, but yeah, in this arc for episodes 1 and 5, the Anime Club arc, which I tried to name the arcs, with what made sense in that part of the story. So, the first 5 episodes really focus on the Anime Club and kind of what gets the whole story rolling. So, yeah, but so I would say, obviously Kayla and Ruby are probably the most significant characters of that arc. So, and I wanted to obviously display them also, like, their personal favorites of mine characters. So I wanted to at least have them be displayed. And I'll actually point out something later as we get to the final arc with the character expressions, like, because I did a little subtle thing with that. So, anyway, so let's get started here.
Oh
I
boy.
think we've talked
Yeah.
for gosh
Hang on. Let me
a
check.
long
Let me
time
check.
now.
It's been like 40 minutes if I had to guess. I was way off.
Oh
It's
god.
29 minutes. I'm a little stupid.
Okay, so we're doing better in terms of
I
not
don't
dragging this
remember.
out.
We yapped a lot in the initial recordings, but I have no clue how much.
So
I
let's
think
get
we
started.
started a bit earlier, but oh yeah, there's this that was originally so goddamn choppy that Ultra had to ask the guy who, unfortunately, I forget the name of. Wasn't it
Frithian.
Frithian? Shit. I get my names mixed. Oh yeah, and then there's this. Which, by the way, I wasn't I didn't code this. This was all Ultra. This scared the shit out of me
This
when I
is
saw
all
this.
I did.
Yeah, this shit scared
I
me.
did this.
I didn't expect this because I was just expecting to see Michael's dumbass when I was doing some test coding or whatever, and then I just see this goddamn jump scare.
So,
oh yeah, there's this song too. Which one was this? I feel so bad. Yeah, I fucked that up. I feel so bad.
I'm gonna have a hard time remembering now who did what tracks. It's now been
Yeah, because we've had quite a few musicians.
Theme.
We had quite a few musicians.
It's all credited here, but
yeah.
I know that Denominally did do the intro track that we heard title screen. So yeah, the reason that I did that little like intro scene because it's like I wanted to have something that I wanted to have like a cinematic feel. Like I'm all about big first impression. Or I did Encore, like the first impression that you guys got when you played that mod was the title screen with the girls moving and with Doki Doki Forever in the background. So I kind of wanted to have at least something.
Did you get permission to use that song?
It was I think it was allowed. It's like kind of like a free sort of thing, just credit.
Fair. I don't know. I've never heard of Orthrio doing that shit, but I'll take your word for it.
I just remember reading in the description.
Oh, okay. That sounds about right then. I love Orthrio.
Yeah. Oh, she's phenomenal. I love her work. So yeah, but originally, like in at least like I think the earlier versions as well, and like originally, like the playtesting as well, like it just really just cut to the scene with Michael at the train station. And originally, fun fact, actually, originally we were gonna have Michael take the bus, but we couldn't find a good bus background, so we opted to do the train thing.
This was just a free
cliche of regular anime.
Plus, this was just a free background, anyways. I think so. It was much easier.
And also, this is the only time we actually ever see Michael.
Oh yeah, I think we mentioned. No, we never mentioned it. I remember
it's mentioned a couple times throughout the story, but like, yeah, this is the only time we ever see it. Yeah, so this is this whole scene just to introduce Michael's character, and writing Michael's character was, it was pretty interesting to do, and I enjoyed writing his character throughout the story as well. He comes as the new kid to town after. Oh my god. So Michael arrives
He
to him as a,
arrives.
he's the new kid. Shut up. He's the new kid. He and his mom are moving to a new town after their parents. Uh, we never really explore the reason for that divorce and like what happened, but like I wanted to like just be kind of going against the grain here, just like instead of like having like a typical like, oh, the mom cheats on the dad or vice versa. I kind of just something more, and it's hinted it later in later episodes, more kind of amicable thing.
Yeah,
As
instead of
all
coming up
that.
with a reason, we just didn't come up with one at all. Writers, use this trick to get out of any situation.
Plot convenience. So so you could tell like when your first impression of Michael's like he's just exhausted and he just wants to like just settle down and like just have like a chill like life once like to simmer down
Until he meets that one fat bastard.
Yes, and we will get into that fat fucking bastard here in a sec.
We
So
bullied
yeah,
Shiro
this is
so
just
much
mostly
in this
Michael just
episode.
monologuing.
Yeah, we bullied
Yeah.
Shiro so much in this. I think it was mainly just this episode, maybe this and like the first 2 or 3. But oh my god, we went ham on Shiro. I kind of feel bad too. I mean, it was just fat jokes.
So to point out something in the dialogue here, so like some of the room numbers are actually Star Wars references. So 2112 is a reference to the Clone Trooper Battalion. 212 Attack
Get
Battalion.
off the stage.
So yeah, I mean, there's a couple times that I made. I did go light on those, but like I did throughout the story as well include anime reference as well because I wrote all this in 2019, the first episode, and we actually ended up using pretty much the entire draft still for the first episode. We made some tweaks here and there, mostly to Michael's character. Michael, like, originally was more nicer, I guess you could say. Like,
I'd say.
Yeah, I guess if that's the word you want to use for it. But yeah, I mean, he was kind of a little optimistic, more of the future, and then like Spaghetto, like, and this was a good direction call on Spaghetto's part, like to have him more like kind of like just more of a bit of an asshole, like he's bitter about stuff and all of that. So, which I think is a more realistic take for like a guy who he's in high school, like having to deal with his parents' divorce, like over the summer, moving to a new town, like that affects him. And for the record, this is not a self-insert in any way. This is something we organically came up with. So,
Oh, not a self-insert. We'll talk about that another time.
Yeah, we'll talk about that when I guess we feel the need to talk about that. But yeah, so we'll skip ahead here. So so this is the introduction of the second major character, Shiro. So yeah, this is a character from Take 2, which is a post-festival mod that added 2 characters. But now I don't know where Spaghetto got the idea to include Shiro into the story, but I just know that he approached Habalaka one day and asked if he could use him. He was like, sure. So thank you, Habalaka, for allowing us to use Shiro. It was a very fun time, like using his story and just to give him like a personality in his own. I don't know how. I did play Take 2 and he was kind of like a nerdy, dorky character, but I think we offered our own take on that, which I think that made the character, kind of like a bit of an icon for this story. I do know that the people's reaction to him is polarizing, which it's kind of what I wanted. I also talk about his music theme here for a brief second. So, I was a huge fan.
Oh my god!
Well, I am.
I just had a
I'm a
fucking
huge
battle with my computer. That shit. Oh my! Discord kept not responding, but was also responding. So I'm hearing you talk while my computer starts to shit itself. So okay, continue.
Yeah, it's okay. So Shiro is also one of the few characters in the story that has soundtrack here. I don't know how well you guys can hear this, but so I'm a huge fan of this anime called Angel Beats, and it's a phenomenal anime. I definitely recommend you guys checking out. It's not for the faint of heart, I will say that, but the music in Angel Beats was a fucking banger, and there's a track that I remember in Angel Beats called Girl Hop, which usually played when this girl named Yui, who kind of reminds me of Natsuki because of the pink hair, like that song would usually play when she was on. So I think I told Denamali, if I'm not mistaken, who did this track, to I was like, hey, make your own version of this. And he was like, okay, bet. So he made it, and it sounds phenomenal. And canonically as well, Shiro is also a fan of Angel Beats. So I did inject some of my personality and interests and stuff like that into these characters, and I think you did as well, Joel, at one point as well. And
maybe.
that's the thing as well. It's like I think all three of us like added like
All
little
three
bits
of
of ourselves.
all of these
characters
characters are
to bring 'em to
secretly just
life.
all three of our. They're all our self inserts, but just melded into one person.
Yeah, I guess that's
Oh
actually
my god,
a
we
very
should
good
do
way
that
to
with
put
one
it, but
character. It's just like 5 different real life people self inserts, and they're extremely schizophrenic. This is a great idea for a
like
character.
multi-personality
I gotta pitch an
disorder. Yeah.
entirety of the season 2 just around that non-existent character right now.
So here, yeah, Michael and Shiro are like introducing to each other. You know, when Michael like originally earlier, if you guys noticed in the dialogue here, that Michael was like like Shiro's your typical stereotypical loser. I don't believe that was original line as well. That's something that we added. We actually started like saying down
Yeah, Michael
this
is
project.
so fucking mean to Shiro.
Yeah, oh god, and like I will just say this, like when we were writing the episodes and like coding and like just like doing our meetings, it's like we would shit on Shiro so fucking much. Like it was just like I almost felt bad for him.
Yeah,
But
we
yeah,
were
I
so
mean,
mean.
I don't even know what
He's
we
fat.
did, honestly.
that's the only reason why.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, he is on the chubby side. He, I mean, he does.
He's on the chubby side. He's morbidly obese.
He's a big boy. Yeah, so then this is all them just like talking, just getting to know each other. And also, one thing I wanted to talk about, like when the PS5,
Oh, yeah.
so it's like I actually was ahead of the curve on that. So
It was bound
when
to
I wrote
happen
this,
eventually.
the PS5 was not out, so like it wasn't even announced. So
I mean, yeah, you said, yeah, PS5 was announced in like 2020, like late 2020, I think.
yeah,
That's
so
something like that, yeah.
yeah, so Shiro and Michael somewhat become at least fast acquaintances. Like
Fuck
Michael also
buddies.
kind of oh god.
Oh yeah.
So yeah,
Boy,
also
boy.
this is a reference to of course the creator DDLC Saint Salvato.
It reminds me of one of the splash messages I put in, which is like, you have no fucking clue where Saint Salvato comes from.
Yeah.
Oh, we completely skipped past the Gold Lake line in the train scene.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So yeah, there was So yeah, Michael's backstory as well. So he's originally from, kind of like out in the country per se. Like he's not like I wouldn't call Michael like redneck basically, but like he's from a more rural part of the country, and I needed a name to like come up with the town from. So I did a homage to our good friend Agent Gold, who helped provide some coding technical support throughout this whole project. So that's my little homage to him.
He has saved our ass so many times that ain't even funny.
This is also another original track that we came up with. This is like kind of just the school theme, like just very pleasant, very upbeat.
Yeah, we wanted a lot. We wanted a lot new music, because don't get me wrong, the original DDLC soundtrack is very good. A main thing that we just wanted to do overall with this mod in general is just add new shit. Because don't get us wrong, we love everything about original DDLC, but after playing so many mods in the span of 5 years, it's getting fucking tiring. And no, there's new good mods that are coming out by all means, but a lot of them, like, DDLC mods have gotten to the point where there's fucking cliches. Do you know how long that a fucking community has have to been around for there to be cliches about your own community?
Yeah, it's just very meta at this point.
Yeah, yes. So that was one thing that we tried to do with this mod, is try to break out of the cliches. I've never heard of an OC-led DDLC mod before. There's OCs and mods, but I haven't seen one that's OC-led. Maybe the Walking Doki. That one comes to mind. But even then, there's only so many OCs, and they're all just self-inserts.
Yeah, and that's one thing that like drew me to this project, was the fact that it was a different kind of mod for it to be an OC-led story, which I thought was like, hey, it's cool. Like, I think it's a fresh breath of air for the community, and I think this is something that maybe people will hopefully enjoy. So,
there was
and
a lot
I
of
think
backlash,
the most part, yeah,
at first when it came to that though.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't call like 5 comments from washed up.
No, there was a bit of discourse over on Discord about the whole thing too, and I ended up responding to a bunch of that.
I don't pay attention to the DDMC Discord.
I do. I respond to.
I just don't care to. I really don't care to.
Then there's me who cares too much.
I check on it on occasion, but like I'm not. I've never been active in that
Yeah, no, I'm weird.
server.
I'll
So
search branching paths in the mod. Just oh shit, hey, it's the CG.
yeah, so I think that's a good segue to the
Good,
next
good
major
segue to get me
character.
to shut the fuck up.
Yeah, so this is the third major character, Samantha. So when we wanted to like introduce her, so originally, we obviously add the CGs like kind of like as the last thing. Uh, but originally, obviously, the sprites, kind of like placeholder for like she just slide on the screen. But yeah, I kind of just wanted like again that for impression. Well, obviously, you can tell she's a student. I will say originally when I wanted to, I think Kyoryii did the CG. I was imagining it being a little bit more chaotic, and I guess Kyoryii. I mean, great. I loved how Kyoryii did it, but like I was originally imagining it like when I wrote it to be like kind of like more like it's like you could barely like see like the top of her head or whatever, just like kind of that classic cartoon character like just has like a bajillion papers
Oh,
like stacked
oh.
together. But yeah, that was kind of like just that impression. But yeah, and then also of course the soundtrack here as well, kind of just a very I guess somber kind of thing, which I think speaks to her character, and that's what we also try to do with the all the character theme tracks. Though, like Michael, Shiro's obviously like upbeat, like kind of like jolly kind of vibe. Michael's kind of like that, kind of like majestic, kind of
Ah,
bittersweet
yes,
thing. I
Michael.
mean, maybe majestic's not the right
I
word,
was about to
but
say Michael, the very majestic character. If there's any majestic character in this series, we all know it's Randy.
yeah, of course, that fucking majestic fuck. But we'll get into that. So yeah, so then of course this is about from Michael's perception as well. So yeah, like I said, I'm a big fan of first impressions, and I think Sam made hers unintentionally on Michael.
I still like to
Um,
think she just robbed the art room. She's not even a student in that class. She just went to that room when no one was there and just stole a bunch of shit. I was
yeah.
like, how the hell is she gonna take that home? She has like all that shit. That is not fitting in her bag.
It would, but yeah, I mean, sometimes if you remember on the first day of school, like your mom or your dad like gives you all the shit that you need for the first day. It's probably a lot more than, so it's also kind of just that
Yeah, I
same
don't get why like
energy.
first days of school are so overhyped. Dog, I'm gonna be doing this shit for the next 10 months. It's the same goddamn thing.
Yeah, so another note about Samantha or Sam, as called throughout the mod.
Plus, like calling her Samantha
So
just feels
even
weird.
I mean, she only is ever called by her full name like just like a couple times throughout the mod too. But yeah, like I
Only
said,
by
everybody
the
calls her Sam. So
assholes.
yeah. So even though we made an earlier mention that that pretty much all the characters were not like self-inserts. Now there's some characters that okay, so the whole story itself is kind of so I'm not trying to say that the MC is necessarily a self-insert first ghetto. I'm not trying to exactly say that because it's not exactly that, but it's more or less kind of events that happen in Spaghetto's life. Like, and this was like early on in life, like elementary school, and one of the characters who's actually real, like is an actual real person, is Sam. So the whole one Spaghetto also told me about what he wanted the story for. He wanted it to be kind of like a tribute to the character or to his friend or long lost.
Lost. The
That
in real life
no,
Sam passed
no,
away.
yeah.
That's essentially what we're saying. The in real life Sam passed away.
Yeah, so this story is kind of like a tribute to.
Yeah.
So so granted,
There's the fucking
obviously what
kawaii line that I hate.
I think Spaghetto actually had that was
I
line.
that shit was bolded and everything. Goddamn.
Yeah. So but yeah, so like Michael is I mean it's not that he's exactly like a pure stand-in for Spaghetto because again Joel and I added little bits and pieces of ourselves to Michael,
I
but
made him gay.
the whole story kind of is like it's like it's real life events that happen with Spaghetto and Samantha, like, but like the events are obviously changed and altered and like over and kind of exaggerated. So it's obviously not the same story to what happened to IRA. So
Yes, Kai exists in real life. He is currently under a construction bed. He is dead.
yeah, so yeah, but yeah, when Spaghetto told me the story, I thought it was a very sweet idea to do that, and I just hope that we sincerely did a good job in honoring. memory. Anyways, so I guess there's not really too
Yeah,
much
we
to
can
talk
pretty much
about
skip.
this
Yeah, we can pretty much
section.
skim over this
We'll,
scene.
we'll skip to
Oh yeah, and then
of course,
here's goddamn Mr. Hara.
Mr. Hara.
His original
Yeah,
sprite
so
was gonna be Natsuki's dad, which was gonna bring
yeah,
a whole like it was gonna be so inconvenient because not only would that not make sense for Natsuki, like the character itself wasn't gonna be Natsuki's dad, but
yeah.
because the community
I
just
actually
has
have a
those
whole
sprites.
thing for that.
Yeah, because the community just has the vision of just that being Natsuki's dad, that just would have been so weird. On top of that, he has no sprites that smile, and that would have been that just wouldn't have worked with Mr. Hara's character as it is in the mod. That just wouldn't have worked. Like that motherfucker
Yeah.
has no smiling sprites, not even like a grin, nothing. Unjoyous
so-
bastard.
Yeah, so obviously, Mr. Hara, when we were writing his character, like he was like kind of that cool, chill teacher. You know, the teacher that you would always want to have when you went to school. So Mr. Hara is just kind of that, you know, cool, chill teacher. Originally as well, in this, he was supposed to have a larger role in the story, but we ended up having to scale that down because of, you know, just constraints of time and just other, like, just the fact that it's like, you know, we didn't want to overbloat the story.
Yeah. Plus, it would be kind of
So-
weird for a teacher to be taking like a hand in student debacle.
Yeah, I don't really remember what Spaghetto wanted to like involve him in more. Like I know he had he had ideas for stuff that I'm not gonna get into because that may be content that we may actually decide to do one day. But which I will say I was never really sold on to begin with. But at any rate, yeah, I mean he was supposed to have a larger role in the story, and we just really couldn't find a way to him. But that being said, it's like I realized that like at least he's more visible so early on, but later in the story he kind of fades. So I would always just try to find ways to like, you know, just bring him back, even for like a small scene, say like, hey, I'm here, don't forget about me. And I really enjoyed liking Mr. Hara. I mean, I just thought about like, you know, all the teachers that I had, you know, back in like, you know, elementary middle and high school.
He looks like he's horrified. What the hell?
Yeah, that's just
Jesus!
like great timing.
Jesus, he looks petrified. Like he just shit himself and he's trying to hide it. I don't remember this sprite. Jesus.
But yeah, the joke obviously there is like, you know, he's a bit of a jokester. He's just a very personable teacher, and he's just someone that you can always go to for help. So that was the vibe we were trying to strike with Mr. Hara. And you know, honestly, you know, he was very, you know, it was very good to, you know, to write his character, and I enjoyed it. I will say though, like with with his sprites and the adult sprites, it always did feel like there was a little bit of a mismatch because he's taller and more thinner than the actual other DLC sprites, which I don't know if we're gonna be able to have like a comparison. Well, not. I mean, or later on we will. Later, like in a few other episodes we will. Like, but at least for right now, like that'll just have.
It's kind of hard to
comparison.
properly scale height when it comes to stuff like this, because
Like tall characters, like you know,
Yeah.
Randy. There was like a bit of a disconnect. I felt, but like then again, like it's not like super jarring in my opinion.
did we ever come up with canonical heights for them? I think you did whenever you were writing out the
I
description.
tried to experiment with it at one point, and I just kind of just gave
Yeah,
up.
because
on it.
it's
Like,
confusing because you
this
have
is
to make
too-
it match the sprites too. So, like, the only way I could see you doing that is if you do pixel measurements, and I don't think we're smart enough for that.
Yeah, obviously, I think the only way you can really do is, like, so you could just go off of, like, the characters for the, you know, you could, like, look at all the, like, the original girls, like, you know, Monka's 5'3", Yuri's 5'5", Sari's 5'2", and Nasi's 4'11".
So, you
So,
can always scale them like that, but still, that's a little confusing. So,
I will say, though, like, at least there are some characters that's, like, I can, like, definitely 100% say, like, you know, this is their height, so...
I like how
Kayla-
I like how scared Sam looks.
Yeah, like, okay, so yeah, another thing about Sam's character. So, obviously, you know, Spaghetto is the only one out of all of us who ever knew Sam, and Sam was a kind of just the, you know, the classic quiet girl, very shy, very elusive. So, obviously, she's not really used to people just like kind of like, you know, approaching her and saying like hi to her like that. So that's what that's what this basically
she's
is.
shitting herself, dude.
It's just the classic, you know, like introvert not knowing what to do in social interactions.
All things
basically.
considered, I think I made a positive first impression on you. No, the fuck you did not. No, you did not.
Yeah, so yeah, and also another fun thing to do with the story was that early on, the first few episodes, you can like literally count the number of times like Sam has dialogue on. Like, she doesn't say a whole lot early on, but then by like the end, she's given full ass monologue. So,
Yeah.
uh,
She gets
you
more.
know,
Yeah,
like
she gets way more involved.
yeah, so like like I would say like all the characters like get like a lot of substantial character growth. Like Michael, I'd say Michael learns the errors of his ways. Shiro faces up to what he's done, and Sam like well obviously we'll go more into this throughout
I've
the
heard
episodes as we talk about them. But yeah, she becomes more open.
one of the most interesting character. What's the word I'm looking for? Like one of the most interesting character interpretations I've had about this series is that Shiro is a bad guy, or like he's a villain in the sense of being a I can't think of exactly what it was, but in the sense of he tries really hard not to, but he ends up fucking everything up, which kind of inadvertently does kind of make him a villain in a way. Which I actually do see that. I slightly understand that logic, and I think that's actually a really interesting interpretation of the character.
My interpretation of Shiro's character is more, it's like he's a character who has a very, difficult past that he never really faced up to what he did until obviously, when things come to a head, he has to like confront his past and, be honest about it and, and try to repair the damage that what he does. Obviously, we'll go more into
Yeah,
detail.
writing fan fiction
Those
about someone that
episodes,
you know in real life is crazy. That's so fucking crazy. That genuinely, that shocked the shit out of me just because it's so out there.
yeah, I mean, yeah, people fucking do that.
No, unfortunately.
Yeah.
God, I've had fan fiction written about me before. That was never a fun experience.
Fucking.
Man, during my heyday on YouTube, I attracted some weird ass people. It's not funny. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was funny back then, but looking at it, it's like, no.
Yeah.
Anyways.
So yeah, back to the episode here. So I actually went back and added a few of these lines right here that I just there's a lot of things in the story early on that like I subtly add that become relevant within later episodes. So for example, like the whole Jeremy's speech, the student council president speech, to like his like welcome back speech, like that's like relevant in the story later on.
I'm gonna be real. I
So
have never, ever once in my life seen a student council. I think my school emails me about it, and I always just fucking hide those emails because they're so annoying. I have never seen a student council. I have never seen a student council president in my goddamn life before.
So yeah, this is some more lore about me actually. So stuff that I inject in the story.
Self-insert.
In middle school, in 8th grade, I was on this council, kind of like just as like a class representative, I guess you could say. I didn't really do anything though. And then in high school, I actually ran for vice president of student council. I didn't win, but yeah, my career in politics has not been very good. Very productive.
Yes, no running for president for you, fucko. You lost the your vice president race.
But in this story, I get elected president. So in the story, at least,
this
I'm
entire
very successful.
AP was just your fucking fanfiction for you, so you would win that stupid fucking election.
Yeah. So so like if there were to be characters that were self-inserts, I would say that Jeremy is like my self-insert. He's like my.
Jeremy's literally your middle name.
Yes, it is actually. So yeah, that's how I got the name.
You don't see a character named Joel running. Never mind.
Well, actually, I thought the Charlie character. Well, again,
Charlie is not a
self
self-insert. That was not a self. Okay, we'll get to that when that comes.
We'll talk about Charlie in episode 2.
Yes, the character that has no sprites and has about a minute of screen time. Most important character in the series.
He's not even on screen. Like I deliberately avoided that shit actually.
No, we must pay $100 for a character that only appears in one scene for 1 minute. Very important.
No, I'm not paying for that.
You can count the amount of dialogue he has on one hand. He doesn't even have dialogue. He just mentioned.
Yeah, actually.
He originally. Okay, fuck it. Okay, we're talking about a whole ass other character. Let's fucking continue on.
Yeah. So in this again, the point back to the dialogue. So yeah, them talking about food, like that's just like I feel like the typical like school, like the food is so awful, and I never really had like school lunch. To be honest, like maybe I tried it like a couple times.
I've had it.
Sometimes it's actually
There's
good.
sometimes you just look at that shit and you know you're not eating it because that's awful. But my school that I go to.
Yeah, I've seen some sketchy school lunches before, and like a friend of mine actually got fucking food poisoning in middle school because there's like a fucking hair, and I think he got like applesauce or something. There's like a hair follicle in his applesauce, so yeah, his stomach did not agree with him.
Yeah, no, I would kill myself personally. Yeah, the school that I go to, it's a very rich public school, which isn't too common from what I've learned. But all of our lunches and breakfasts are actually free. So if I wanted to get a lunch, I could. But I bring packed lunch because fuck that shit. And I remember there was one time.
I was a packer.
Yeah,
as
no,
well.
yeah, I love packing. But there was one lunch. I don't even remember what it was exactly. It was it was like sweet like sweet potato fries and something else. And that shit just looks so abominable. So awful. I never ate any of the, I never even had breakfast there again. I never had, because they would have some good breakfasts. They would have some good ass like chicken sandwiches or whatever. I no, ruined my entire appetite for whatever the fuck that school had to offer.
Yeah. So yeah, also when I talked earlier when we talked about like little subtle details that I added in the story, this scene right here, interaction between Mr. Hara and Sam, that's a big indication that hey something's right. So yeah, I mean I don't think there's really anything.
This
of
entire
note
scene is just
for
like, hey, that Sam girl, there's something up with her.
it's just that dialogue is literally what it is, just
Yeah.
like the kind of like foreshadow.
Spoiler alert! It's fucking cancer.
Yeah, yeah, and then this scene, obviously, point out like Shiro's kind of like a loner, which is also something that like this is the kind of story that like when I was writing, it's sort of like the thing. It's like you really have to pay attention because things come up later. So
Yes, this
it was
lunch
very
scene,
fun.
very important.
Yes, it was not so much of like the dialogue here. Talk about fucking they're having.
We
but
throw random shit at you and then we expect you to remember because of fuck you.
yeah, basically. Yeah,
you will pay so much goddamn attention to this mod that you will recite to me the entire dialogue when I speak to you about it.
Yeah, but I always love the kind of story that like it makes like there's like in the first chapter even, or like at least early on in the story, like there's like a subtle detail and becomes like such a big thing like later on in the story. So that's kind of like the approach I took like writing the first episode and other episodes as well, because like episode 1 is like the foundation for the entire story. For,
oh my
like,
god. Do you know what would have been the greatest fucking plot twist of this entire season? Shiro never wrote the fanfiction because he's gay. Oh my god! That was such a huge
we were gonna do that.
No, unironically, that was such a huge missed opportunity. That would have been so funny.
Well, I mean, even though it's like we canonically confirmed it that like he
wrote it, but still,
like,
oh my god,
he never wrote what was like plastered around the school, but he did write something.
I'm gonna be honest with this story. I don't even get the entirety of it. I mean, I'm the coder, so I'm not supposed to, anyways. But there's some things that even in this story I never got. I like to think that I like to think that he did write some smut. Actually, I had a friend of mine. Nah, this is kind of personal, so I'm not going to talk too much about it. But I did have a friend of mine that would have fantasies about some of her friends, and I'd like to think Shiro...
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I told you a little bit about it. And then I like to think that Shiro did something of the similar vein, and then wrote it out, and then put it on like Wattpad or some shit.
It's not quite what happened, but essentially, yeah. Also, just want to point out another low reference. So, I played a mod one time called Doki Doki College Club, and in that mod, like, the MC visits like this Korean barbecue place and he gets sick. So that's kind of like an homage to that mod.
I love.
It was a funny mod.
I've never played. I can't make references to mods I've
played.
I don't like half of them.
I will say that mod. I didn't think it was anything to like really write about, but like I do remember that scene. I thought it was funny.
Yeah, my problem with mods is I just straight up don't like half the ones I play, and I feel bad because like DDLC mods is typically baby's first game in general, so I feel bad for not liking half the stuff I play. But at the same time, it's like, can you read? Can you read what you're making? We do not need the 27th DDLC Vigilante mod. I'm not saying like the Vigilante. I'm just saying Vigilante as a genre I'm not talking about Vigilante as the mod itself. I'm talking the genre. There's too many fucking Vigilante genre mods. I hate them all.
Yeah, I haven't played a DDL mod, like at least not one made by myself in this point.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while.
I just haven't felt the need to. Like, there's not a whole lot has jumped out at me at this point because I played so many mods. It's like, you play so many mods, it's like you feel like you kind of see it all, and then like,
Yeah.
even though like I'm sure there's plenty of good mods still being made, but it's just
definitely.
like there's a couple mods so I could say that like jump out. I mean, like maybe I want to try to play one day if I could just around with like foreign relations looks promising.
Yeah.
There's a couple other I just can't top of my head right now, but foreign relations is one mod that I could say that's like, yeah, that's a mod I definitely want to check out sometime. Also, I want to finish Doki Doki Roadie Roads, which is made by various artists as well. Who was like a little bit of a publisher, so
I'm
to
gonna
speak.
be so real. I've never heard of Vigil Artists before Ultra brought it up to me. I've never heard of them before. I feel bad. There's so many things about this community I just straight up don't know, and I only realize because Ultra tells me about it.
Yeah, I've been around since 2018. So I've seen a thing.
I've been around since 2018 too. I just wasn't active in the community at all. I think if you like look back, I think I joined the DDMC, like the server on like 2019. I didn't say a word and I left.
Yeah. So also we established early on here how Shiro is the secretary of the anime club, and there are desperate needs of a fourth member.
anything.
So which that actually harks back to the base game DDLC. I'm pause it. That harks back to base DLC when, if you remember in Act 2, Monica makes the thing like when she's trying to beg MC to join the literature club. That's like, well, we need 4 members to be a club, otherwise, we just can't do 3 people. So it's kind of that situation here, which again, I wanted to try to include the game, or at least parody or parallel events that happen in the base game to this story as well, just like kind of like just a connection thing.
It's always nice to be consistent.
Right, yeah. So now we get introduced to the villains of the story. Good old Kai and Randy.
I can't wait to post the original scroll. Randy didn't have sprites originally. Kai, on the other hand, there was 2 different
actually,
sprites.
no. Randy had original sprites. So I'll talk about Kai and Randy's designs here. So I don't remember where exactly we got the sprites for them, but originally I think we got them like from another mod, which was from the and the sprites were in the assets folder.
Yeah.
So so the overall look is still the same as their like original counterparts, and again, I guess we could just flash them on the screen here. But the problem was originally the sprites were bad.
Yeah.
And we didn't really have a lot to work. So also here Kai also has his own theme, which while Michael and Sam is just tracks that we just kind of had completely come up with, and Shiro was from Angel Beats, while Kai's main soundtrack his character is actually kind of inspired from Death Note from Light's theme.
Oh yeah.
So, you could compare the tracks, and like you could notice that there's.
I love extremely needy instruments, and I don't mean that in a bad way. It's great.
Yeah, it was also very fun to describe their features, like like Kai's a fucking scrawny.
Wink!
While Randy's like this fucking muscular majestic fuck.
Behemoth. I know. I wonder.
But
Randy's sprite is so big it doesn't even fit in the game. By the way, there's more. He has more hair.
Randy, his hair gets a little cut off here, as you see, but
he's that big.
So yeah, I would say canonically Randy is like 6,
which is crazy. No, actually, that's not crazy. I've seen freshmen with beards like that.
Yeah, even though canonically they're all second years, even though they're all also 18.
Which is a little crazy to think about. I mean, we see Ruby sucking or almost sucking dick in one of the episodes. So we almost caught it. Now thinking about it, you were the writer. You're catching the case. I'm just fine. I'm a minor. I get away with this.
I'm the one who. Well, actually, it was Spaghetto. I think one. I don't even remember that. We'll talk about scene.
We'll just play a game of Russian roulette. Whoever gets the bullet, they have to. If they live from the bullet, then they have to do a fucking lifetime in jail. Anyways.
Oh god, but anyway, so. Talk about their original sprites. So again, some like their facial features are pretty much all the same. Randy's hair we changed up a little bit, and Kai we made his hair curly. And the original problem with Kai's sprite was that like his left side was literally just like a straight line, like. And also, like, he had like circular, like, silver glasses, which I was fine with, personally, but the problem is like, the glasses, like, were never, like, fully drawn or whatever, it was just only, like, halfway from the bottom up. So, it just looked bad, and was like, we gotta redo this. And then Randy, as well, is like, the problem is, like, there just wasn't, like, a whole lot of sprites to work with, so we were like, fuck it, we'll base their final designs off those sprites, but yeah, but you could tell if you were to compare them side by side, you could say that it's like, okay, this is like very.
That reminds me, someone made a Reddit post about this. Actually, they were wondering because I guess Kai looked familiar to them, so they made a Reddit post asking where the original sprites for Kai came from. And the way that I knew them is Spaghetto made a video with them for a whole, I think it was a zombie mod, but I could be wrong. I never watched the video. I just saw the thumbnail and I was like, what the fuck? Did we steal a design on accident? And then we got like permission and whatnot.
Well, no, it was from the community assets folder, which is obviously it's all assets there.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah,
but yeah,
not really called us out on that. I mean, it's not calling out like we did anything wrong, but.
I mean, we don't like. But yeah, I mean, the designs as they are, like, are ours.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, and also we did add, like, our own, like, unique touches, so, Spaghetto really pushed the idea that, like, he wanted at least the uniforms to be all different, which I wasn't necessarily for, but I understand what he was going with. So Kai obviously has the breast pocket with the pen, and Randy has a tie, and that was just more of a way for the audience to like easier identify characters. Even though I think that you would easily remember like a ginger character, a guy who has a fucking beard. But I mean, hey, every little bit helps. Little details.
Or the guy who's a goddamn behemoth. I don't. If we had to come up with a canon height for Randy, it'd be some funny shit. It's got to be like 6'3".
Yeah, Randy, I would say is 6 feet.
The only reason why he's scaled down is for the purpose
of
being actually able to see him in a mod. That is something that we might probably.
Yeah, Kayla is about I think the same height as Natsuki. Kayla, I think we had her be between Sayori and Sari and Monica, I believe.
Something like that. I don't think we ever see Kayla, Monica, and Sayori in like the same scene or whatever. So I don't think we've ever like.
I think they might be. Well, I mean, they're technically in the same scene.
Oh yeah, that's true. But actually, everyone is. But they don't interact. They don't like all three of them. They don't all interact essentially.
Kayla, I think, interacts with Monica, but at any point. So in this scene right here, so this is where Kai, spills the beans about Shiro. That he's like, yeah, so he did some really weird shit, and we're like bullying him.
Yeah, that's pretty based, if you have to ask me.
So.
I love bullying people. Bullying is what builds a nation, alright? The reason why Gen Alpha is such pussies because they don't get bullied. We have to start taking away their iPads and then start calling Skibbity Toilet stupid. We're gonna build a strong nation under my guidance.
Yeah, so when we introduced Kai and Randy, so obviously, you said this early on yourself that, you had a hard time taking Kai and Randy
more
seriously.
Kai than Randy.
And that's something Spaghetto
Well, the thing about Randy, he's
Randy looks naturally intimidating. Like, Kai himself with just how he is. And here's the thing. Kai is not, like, your average villain. He never was meant to be. He's, like, it's an unorthodox villain where, like, the school bully is, like, a nerd.
Yeah.
Like, a weeb. And that's what Kai is at the end of the day. So, obviously, so some of his dialogue had to be reworked to, like, have it, like, to at least have him, like, have some weight. And, like, we also, like, created some additional scenes for him that, like, that shows, like, hey, this is a character that you have to take seriously. Like, you can't just, like, brush off as, like, just some random asshole. Like, one little note about the designs as well. So, like, for the in-universe reasons for why Kai has a breast pocket and he has a bow tie. So, my in-universe reason is that, Randy's on the school football team, and he's an athlete, and all the athletes have bow ties. While Kai, he had, like, a special privilege where, like, when he won the school science fair, like, he was able to modify his uniform, so he opted.
He opted for a fucking breast pocket? What a fucking loser.
Spaghetto is the one who wanted the design, so I just kind of just came
About
up
to say
with
that's
that.
such a
Like,
weird. I mean, it's slightly convenient. He's got a pen there that he never uses. I like to
he
think
actually never
I like
uses
to
that
think that the
pen.
pen is just glued to it.
It's just for
Yeah.
decoration. It's just for
It's not
show.
even a real pen, it's fabric. But yeah, I realized he never used
It's just
that pen.
it's just
I
sewn
mean,
in.
imagine we say that he used it, but the pen is still there. We never commission. We gotta commission a whole set of sprites now. We're just the pen isn't there. Oh my god! During the fight scene, it would have been so funny if he gets knocked up to the head. The pen falls out.
Yeah, we actually never
That would
did
have been
that.
such a great detail, though.
Yeah, it would have been, but yeah, then that would more money and more
Small
time,
price to
more
pay.
code. And, and after a point, you're just like,
Yeah,
fuck that. It's not worth
fair. We like our mod. We don't like our mod that much. And this is where. This is where. Oh yeah, this is the bullying sesh. Fat.
Yeah, so yeah, basically, yeah, this was fun as well. Originally, actually, throughout the scene as well, it's like Randy had more dialogue. Like he and Kai kind of just built off each other. But one again, this is another direction call by Spaghetto, where to have Randy talk a lot less, like to make him more like the muscle. Like even though Randy, like even though when he talked, it's like yeah, he's like you could tell it's like yeah, he's just like the muscle moron. But like I guess we took the less is more approach, so he doesn't really have lines even throughout like the early part of the story. Like he doesn't say a whole lot. It's mostly Kai who does the talking, which I also think better reflects their dynamic throughout the well. So yeah, I mean, so we did cut back on Randy's dialogue, so he does still have a few lines here and there, but it is significantly less than what it was in the draft. Like originally it was more 50-50, now I'd say it's like probably like
About that, even then, yeah. Even then, just I mean, it would make more sense for Randy Alta too, because it kind of fits in with that kind of stereotype of just that big, muscular guy who doesn't speak much. He speaks with his fist, which is kind of cliche to say, but whatever. So, also, I like how Randy just doesn't have a nose. He has a bit of a bump, but he doesn't have a nose that much.
Yeah, that's just how
fucking
the sprite was
Squidward
made.
ass nose.
Which, yeah, it's something I didn't know.
Like everyone has like a little dot for a nose. Randy's just Squidward over here.
Yeah, I always did find that kind of interesting from the design perspective. And I will say also, Randy's like when I was so right. It's like we tried to like we ordered it and had it structured sent in such a way to where like we can always make additional expressions and poses if ever needed. And I will say, Randy, like I sometimes it's like he had a hard time with making expression because it's like how the face was like
his beard got in the way
like
too.
You might point out like there's
my
no
problem,
real nose.
I think my main problem with like Randy's sprites initially was it was kind of hard to tell his expression if it wasn't overly expressive.
Yeah. Like all the bearded characters kind of had a hard time
because they just have smaller mouths.
Like Hara, I had some trouble with. Yeah, Hara, Randy, and Mr. White, I had some struggle with. And Kai also was kind of hard at times because like his glasses got in the way
I remember
of his
that.
eyes. So even like I don't even think like I ever got 100% right. Like if you really look at some of the sprites, sometimes you'll see like his glasses.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there was a couple. Because there were a lot of sprites that we ended up making ourselves. Kayla, oh my god, we made... No, never mind. No, Kayla was the one that came with a shit ton of sprites. Oh my god, Kayla was so much... Kayla came with so many... That is not a great sentence to say. Kayla came with so many expressions. I think the character that we ended up making the most expressions for ourselves was Kai, though.
Yeah, I think that's right, because, you know, he also has, like... he has like from the fight scene that happens at the end. Obviously, he has blood, he has bruises. So like, yeah, but like Ruby, I mean, I'm sorry, yeah, Kayla also does have a lot.
Kayla definitely has the most amount of like base expressions. Like, why did you order so many?
You know, when we ordered the sprites, like I try to envision like what we're gonna need for like down the line. So. And then like I also try to like when I write the episodes or when I wrote them, I try to envision like kind of like, okay, what sprites are we gonna need? So my thing was is that like and with whole Kayla's character, which I'll talk about more, it's like I always viewed her as a kind of an expressive character, so I felt like she should probably have like some more variety in her body poses and expression, which I think that that does a very well job of just showing.
I think we can pretty
Yeah.
much skip over this scene now because not much to
Yeah.
talk
So,
about with these two goobers.
but so so Kai and Randy kind of make their point in their debut in the show here, and then Michael asks Shiro, "It's like, yo, did you do this?" And Shiro denies all that, and at least on the surface, you're inclined to take his word.
Yeah.
Then this all just goes into the lore behind all that, like just briefly touches upon it. Like Shiro's like, yeah, he and I do not get along. Kai's like an asshole, and Randy's like a jock with no
I
brains,
mean, Kai's
basically.
ginger. I would
So,
be an asshole too if I
and then
was forced to
also,
be ginger.
yeah, and then also this is like I feel like kind of like a problem in the public education system is that, yeah, like the school system doesn't really do a
I
whole lot
can
about
confirm.
bullying.
I've gotten the shit kicked
Like,
out of me.
yeah, even the public school that I went, like when I was in grade school, like, yeah, they were really fucking horrible about it because I saw it happen. Nothing
I'm
never got
ironically
done
enough, I'm
about it.
playing this game called Lost Judgment, and not what I was expecting, but a big part of the plot is actually about bullying, which is weird because the first game was about this. It was this gritty detective story, and the second game is too, to its degree, but it takes a lot of the story revolves around bullying, which is an interesting take. I think bullying in general is something that can be done interesting, but I feel like there's also a lot of room for error, a lot of room for cliches and of that matter. And I do feel like Kai and Randy kind of occasionally fall into some cliched stuff, but I think we were able to
Hmm.
work them out of a lot of those areas. Like originally, like I said, Kai and Randy, they were such fucking cliches, and they just ended up being so unintimidating because of it. But we, after like working out their characters and really giving a lot more context to who they are as characters, it definitely helped. It definitely helped to break them out of the initial gooberness of those characters. That's not fucking. I don't know, man.
Yeah, yeah, and that. Yeah, I mean, yeah, and I think that's a good point too. And I think we made them better characters because working all those out. And like I think every one of the characters kind of fits into a trope
Some in
or
some way.
archetype. Yeah, no,
In some
that's
way,
just
yeah.
how it is. Yeah, so but yeah, obviously, we need that. You need to have like, you just can't base a cliche or an archetype for a character. You have to have more
Yeah.
depth to that. Ooh. And thing is that, like I said, like early on when we did the story, like even when we were writing, like like a couple episodes in, like I kind of realized it's like, there was never really any big plan for Kai and Randy. Like obviously we knew what their arcs were going to be, like how their stories were going to go, but like we never really went too much in depth into them because uh, I will say, just kind of monologue here. So originally when we did the whole story, like this also, I mean, not to say that we parted with Spaghetto because of creative differences. That's not what the case was, but like it's something that you and I talked about that we kind of noticed, picked up on as we were working on projects. That originally it felt like Spaghetto wanted this whole story to be kind of like a love
Yeah.
letter to Sam in a way, like. And early on, like he kind of just wanted the whole story to be about Michael and Sam. And during one of our talks, I remember that like he kind of just basically said that, came
Yeah.
out there and said and he said that obviously, yeah, there's going to be other characters, there was drama, but that was like basically to pad the
Yeah,
runtime.
I remember him saying that pretty much word for word.
Yeah, and like basically the whole story was supposed to be just about Michael and Sam, and the problem with that is that what
No one's gonna give a damn.
what's the hook for the audience? Yeah, what's the hook for the audience who, is like very attached to these four, girls who we are already minimizing their role in the story to
And then we
begin
just
with.
stick
So,
two new characters.
obviously you have an MC. Yeah, you have like an MC who is a almost essentially like a self-insert, and an OC, which I mean nobody knows
Yeah.
other than you. So it was very hard to write a story just based off those two characters, and not to mention it's like I never knew this person, so it's like I can and like Miguel also never really obviously never went into too far detail about the nature of the relationship, but I mean they were friends, I know
Yeah.
that much. I'm not going to speculate how Spaghetto really truly felt about her and how he
Because
viewed
at the
her.
end of the day, that doesn't really matter.
I mean I can. Yeah, and that's obviously. I mean, we can always just make an observation from
Yeah.
what our interactions was and how he conducted himself throughout
Yeah.
our time working together. But yeah, that being said, it's like, so it was very hard to basically write like he essentially wanted us to like write a love story, but not have it be a love
Yeah,
story
I
at the same
remember
time. It's
that.
like it was a very weird needle to thread because it's like it's like how you watch Michael and Sam throughout their time together. Um, it it's very hard to like not draw the conclusion that they're gonna end up together. Just you could just see the interaction, like hell, just even from the first episode, you could if you've watched enough anime or even just enough romance, you could probably tell it's like, yeah, these two characters will
Yeah.
probably end up together if it's that kind of mod, which I can't really confirm one way or the
Nothing was
other.
confirmed at the end of the day,
But
so fuck you.
yeah, I mean, but yeah, I mean, personally do like the idea of Michael and Sam being together, and once we got control of the story, I mean, I was not afraid to lean more into that than I was previously allowed to. Now, obviously, Spaghetto was very fair and very
Compensative.
willing to let us like write the yeah, I guess that could be the word for it. Like of how he wanted to write the other characters, but he was always kind of restrictive about how he wanted to write Sam, which
Yeah,
honestly
that's
that's
yeah. No, I
completely
don't blame
fair.
him for that. Like, although one thing I did find odd is of like he took over creative control out of the time, but I feel like a lot of what he wanted to do should have been in his words and not yours.
Yeah, I mean, how I viewed my role throughout the entire time of Branching Paths is that he had the vision, I was the conduit for that, and that's honestly a role I did
Yeah.
not mind playing, honestly, because I didn't want to be the lead dev for the project. I already done that with Encore, and making a mod is exhausting. A lot goes
Yes.
into that, and I understand why like a lot of mod creators are very much one and done. Like especially if it's like a big mod too. Like I
Oh yeah.
understand having that
Yeah,
experience
from
now,
the
doing it
outside
twice.
perspective, it doesn't look so bad, and then you actually like get in. Like, it depends on mod to mod because you can write a really good story and not add a single new asset, and I'm sure of that. But if you do want to, if your vision really does expand so much, where you do want to do maybe not something to the extent of branching paths, but something to the extent of you want some new sprites or whatever, it's costly and it's very timely too. It takes a while. Like these artists are not going to pump out sprites for you. They're not going to pump them out every other day. They take time and shit. So
Yeah, like God, like they took like
yeah,
weeks
oh
or even
yeah, no,
months.
I remember that. Yeah, I
Uh,
mean the CG artists too. The CG artists. I mean, depending on how free their overall schedule was, it usually took them. What I think a week at the earliest, maybe,
yeah, obviously it depends on their
and how many
availability, just
commissions they already
how
have,
fast they
and how many
naturally
commissions they
work.
have, and that kind of shit.
Yeah, so like yeah, sometimes it's like yeah, we got lucky, we were able to get like with two, and sometimes
Yeah,
it took like a month or two. So that's just it is what it is, and like obviously when you depending on how seriously you want to take a DDLC project, and I'm just the kind of person where if I'm gonna do something
we're
creative, I
going
want to make
balls
sure it's done
deep.
right. And essentially, that's actually a very good way of summing up how I am with projects. And so yeah, I was very much that way, that energy. I know you were, and Spaghetti at the end of the day, just after a
Yeah, he
point, just
didn't bring the
wasn't.
energy
And
that we were
I
having with
think,
the mod. That passion.
I mean, early on, I felt like
Yeah,
he
but
did. Honestly, like I sincerely believe that. But I think that what happened was is that for like I mentioned, like it felt like the whole mod was story of Michael and Sam, and like that, like it was just supposed to be a the soft core
yeah, but the direction
romance
of the mod,
story, which was
yeah,
not
and then the
supposed to be.
mod just started
Yeah.
getting directed down a path of not really having as many romance elements as the original intent was. But at the end, the story was undoubtedly better when we went the path that we did with the bigger arc being of the bullying and then kind of sidelining the romance. Like, yeah, it's there. There's definitely some
Yeah,
romantic tensions between the two, but it's not as upfront. It's not as upfront as the mod originally was going to be. And at the end, we really should have had it just been Michael and Shiro with the romance shit, anyways.
oh god. No, 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 I was not gonna ever something like that. But I mean, yeah. So like, well, here's the thing. It's like I kind of knew early on that's like if this mod is what exactly is Spaghetti is intending to be, then it's gonna be we're gonna struggle to make this a successful story, and it's gonna be very challenging to write because it's like when you write romance, it's like sometimes, at least in my experience, when you write romance, it just feels like you should write it a certain way. Like there's
I
like
was
a
about to
natural
say the
flow and
best
path to
stories
things,
in
and
general are just the ones that
Spaghetto,
come out so naturally.
yeah, and it's like Spaghetto. It's like always wanted to leave things between Michael and Sam like implied or subtle.
It's
When
kind of
it's
silly to
like
do that.
where it's like it's just like it's just like how can you not write this or interpret this any
Yeah.
other way? You know, and obviously like I felt that like also like there was other things that like I think the story was worth exploring, like the whole thing with like Shiro and Kai, Bob, and like trying to include the girls in some meaningful way. Like like I mean, I think that's what people wanted. Like I felt like that if people were gonna give these OCs a chance, there had to be a
Yeah.
reason to care. There had to be like some sort of stakes for, and obviously, of course, we needed to include the girls in some aspect. And it's like and then I eventually wrote the story that I felt like was able to include all the characters to give them like a reason to root for him, to care about them, and try to maximize the girls' impact on the story and how much we can. Now, yeah, even though they're not exactly like the front focal point, they're not front and center of the story, but they do have their own parts to play, and that's always the intention. And in the early drafts, like other than Spaghetto had like a very specific
He
fate in
wanted
mind.
her to die for some reason. It was so
Uh,
weird.
yeah, I never understood. I never understood that. I mean, even though like the idea that he had wasn't like terrible actually for how that was gonna happen, but it was one of those ideas that's like you look at it, it's just like this doesn't make any sense.
Really
If
just
we were gonna
seemed
do it, it's
like
gonna
it
like
really
bloat
just
the
seemed like he
story.
wanted to kill off the Dokis. Like I think there was also another. I don't know. I'm not gonna say this because maybe we might incorporate this somehow. So I'm not gonna say what we had. We had a fate for Yuri, but like I said, I'm not gonna say that. But
Yeah. The idea for Yuri was
oh, that
actually
was
mine.
you.
I
Okay,
came up with
yeah.
that actually from
Yeah,
what I saw.
it just seemed like if we
And
were to
then
do that though, then that would mean less screen time for the Dokis. And we were dipping our toes into some mighty fine water when it came to like how uninvolved, like they're involved obviously, so maybe uninvolved isn't the right word, but how less focal they are in this mod. We were already dipping our toes in some mighty thin ice there. But if we were to somehow write them off and, kill them or do whatever to them, then I just think no one would play the mod, because at that point, is it even a mod? Like, now this would be, like, the time where I would understand, like, this isn't even a mod if the girls aren't, if one of them's already dead, and then the other ones, they're somewhere else doing their own thing, then, and it's just focused on the OCs, then yeah, this isn't even a mod, this is just a game using DDLC assets at that point. But, oh my god, the criticism of
yeah, like I mean, yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's like it's not a new concept for like for
yeah.
character deaths and mods. Like I mean, Eggs Music killed off Natsuki, Rainclads killed off Natsuki, Fallen Angel killed off Yuri, I
One
think,
last member
and
killed off Sayori.
plenty of mods kill off. Yeah, there's plenty of mods where
There's
the
plenty of
girls die.
mods where you also
Hell, even
save
my mod.
Sayori at the last minute too. Stop with that cliche, please. Just let her die.
Yeah, yeah. There's plenty. Yeah, the point is, it's like it's like if now granted, like Sayori was probably the only one that I think initially. Well, Monica, I don't think we ever had like a. Monica had her own little arc, which I already thought that plot line was kind of weird, but I mean, I felt like that, there's a way that we can get it to work. Natsuki, obviously, everyone would flat out say it's like, that we were going to kill her off in the first arc. I'm sorry, not the first arc in this season, but then our 10 episode crest. Obviously, we had a very specific fate in mind for Yuri that we were debating, that we never truly decided on it, but like up in the air. And Monica and Sayori, we never really figured out what we wanted to do with them. But Natsuki, we had a conclusive fate for that we at least talked about. Yuri as well, and I mean I know we talked about like what we could do with Sayori and Monica, but I don't think those discussions ever went substantive. But yeah, at the end of the day, the point being, because I know I'm kind of rambling
I'd love to,
at this point, it's like like we expanded upon the story. Yeah, we do. We just love hearing the sounds of our own voice.
I can't wait to
Can't
edit
help it.
this.
But like, the point being, it's like obviously we need a way to include the girls into the story as much as possible. And with the original story just being exclusively Michael and Sam with little bits of drama sprinkled in, it's like it would have been a very hard story to right and to make into ultimate market to get people to play. So that's the direction we went in with it, and I think what kind of made Spaghetto lose interest overall was that it wasn't the story or version of the story that he wanted. So yeah, even though again, we're not saying this because we know this for a fact. Again, it's just the observation, but he just was
I
had less
can't
time.
wait for him to
So now
flame us for
whether
this.
he could say
all 20 of his fans rating my
he
channel.
could say
I feel bad for saying that.
he could say whatever he wants about me. I really could care less. But but at the end of the day, again, it's no hard feelings towards him. I was appreciative of the opportunity that he gave me, and I'm glad I was able to finish the story at the end of the day. But I won't pretend that he didn't have a slowing things down.
Yeah,
And,
it was very
make the journey as difficult as possible. I will say, I'm not afraid to say this. A lot of the roadblocks were self-inflicted, and it was him at the end of the day. A lot.
We feel bad
of
for
the time.
saying it. We do.
And
but
we were
it's hard to just not say the facts.
Yeah, we were as patient with him as possible,
For a
and
good year.
I don't doubt that he had. Yeah, and I don't doubt that, he also had a lot of things going on in his personal life, which I believe that he was telling us the truth. I have no reason to doubt that, but it also does seem weird that suddenly all those issues go away once he stopped talking with us, and once we agreed
and
to
then
part
he blocks
ways.
me on
So,
fucking Twitter
again,
after.
maybe it's just
I'm so mad about it.
Yeah, again, maybe that's just how it happens. Maybe that's just how it looks. I don't know at this point, but yeah, that's just kind of how it happens, and that's the whole reason why we agreed to ultimately part ways with Spaghetto, because at the end of the day he just wasn't he wasn't filling his end, and at the end of the day it's to do a project like this, it's you have to be all in on, otherwise it's never gonna get done. And unfortunately he was holding the project back from being completed, and if he was able to be as active with the project as he was when he first started, I think we could have been. I could say for sure we would probably be working on season 2 or uploading it right now.
Oh hell no!
So, yeah,
it's got to be a couple years before we can start thinking about season 2.
Yeah, we'll address the topic of future content probably when we're at the end of this whole thing, but yeah, like I said, that's basically long and short of why we Spaghetto kind of cut from development after the first
Anyways, let's get back to the actual mod instead of shit talking.
Yeah,
God,
so
I love talking shit.
Last 2 scenes. Well, yeah, the last 2 scenes here. Nothing obviously significant happened, just dialogue.
And then let's talk about the fucking the goth whores, which I think I mentioned this earlier. Kayla. Wow, I'm stupid. Kayla's original name was Penelope, and whole different sprites of her. The reason why we opted out of the original sprites, aside from the fact that we just had different vision for the character, her sprites were so blurry. They were not HD high definition. They were 360p for whatever reason.
Yeah, and not to mention very limited expressions, very hard to work with.
Big issue with sprites is when they just don't fucking give you that leeway to really go wild.
Yeah, and Ruby, so obviously we changed Penelope to Kayla, and Ruby's name still stayed the same if I remember correctly, but she had a different look as well, completely different look.
Her face is really
it was made by a different artist. Yeah, Ruby, she initially had a completely different look, which again we can plaster on the screen here. But the issue was that even though I thought it was a good sprite, don't get me wrong, but it didn't fit the DDLC.
Yeah, that wasn't. Oh wait, wasn't that made by Kyoryii too? The original Ruby sprites?
No, it wasn't made by Kyoryii. It was made by somebody else who I can't remember off the top of my head right now.
We're very mean when it comes to remembering people.
Yeah, it just...
We're very bad at it.
Yeah, unintentionally. We're not trying to flame anyone. Again, with all the artists, we appreciate all the time.
I love all the people that helped work on our stuff. But there were just so many names.
Yeah. It's all credited, and if we can't remember your name off the top of our head in the dev commentary, I apologize. You can just comment below, and you can call us an asshole.
You can flame us and then talk shit on our Reddit post. Even though you're a pedophile some other time. That was so fun. I'm not even going to get into that.
I know you're talking about.
That was so fun.
Yeah, we're not going to...
I'm not going to talk about that, though, but that was so fun.
Anyway, so yeah, to talk to a little bit about more into Kayla and Ruby. So the idea, obviously, of course, is like we needed like characters who were like the president, the vice president of the anime club, because to keep true to the theme of like the large club having its own president, vice president. Anime Club needed its own version. So originally, so Spaghetto came up with the idea of like having a more realistic take of Natsuki. So we came up with the idea, that Kayla would take
Yeah.
that role. Also, just to point out, this is my favorite expression for her pouting expression. I just find that adorable and funny.
Yeah.
She's definitely more toned down than Atsuki is in general, which is always nice to see.
Yeah, and it's like also like as a little subtle way to like remind you of the girls. It's like, Kayla obviously reminds you of Natsuki.
Yeah.
And Ruby, I guess you could say, more or less reminds you.
The only reason why you're
like,
saying Yuri is because of fat titties, bro.
Maybe that has something to do with it, but and we'll talk about that in a second. So their designs were very interesting. Going into that, I'm actually.
I was not a part of it. Do not flame me.
Okay, so this will probably go back to shit talking on Spaghetto a little bit. So, so we had the idea of having goth characters being like in charge of the anime club, which I was for. I thought that made sense. And the colors, how their general look was. It's like I was like, yeah, that's fine. And I wasn't against the idea of them being on the more provocative side. I didn't mind that, but when we got into the nitty gritty of stuff, I was like, I think a little
Yeah.
like
if we, I mean, this is probably
like
a bit to do, but if we end up doing a season 2, then I would not mind toning down their look a little bit.
Yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to doing that either, but like my concern is just that it's like, well, like that's money, and it'll be a lot of effort to redo the sprites. So I don't know, but anyways, that's a concern that we may get to. But yeah, I mean, obviously we wanted to have like a lot of detail with Kayla and Ruby, like at least with we wanted him to have like kind of like different shade of color, which I think that it made them look very well with. Kayla bringing, I guess, was that like that cyan and
something
black
like
hair.
That, yeah. I think that's just a light blue.
And then Ruby like being purple and those little gradient shades of red. Like, I mean, I think that like, at least from an overall design perspective, I mean, they're personally.
I wonder
my
what color
of
Ruby. I wonder what color Ruby's eyes are.
Yeah, I wonder why. I still can't figure it out.
A fucking head scratcher right there, just like Saint Salvato, fucking head scratchers.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, yeah. Also, just to point out as well. So like, we add like these cool ideas, like having a skull ring. You really can't tell it's a skull ring for Kayla. Having the little
I still can't believe she has a tattoo and no one talks about it.
Yeah, so that is an actual.
I like to think that that's one of those stick-on ones that fade away after like a week.
No, it's an actual face tattoo. That's like lore.
That's crazy. No one talks
about it too. Is it? I don't know if there's rules about not being able to have like face. I've seen people in my school that has like arm tattoos and shit, but I've never seen someone with a face tattoo.
I mean, at least as far as I know, in any public school I've been to, I don't remember reading in the rule book that you can't have facial tattoos. Now, I'm personally not a big believer in tattoos and all that. I mean, but people want to have like tattoos. They want to cover themselves in tattoos.
Oh, that's my mom. My mom has her entire leg. Her entire leg is a sleeve of Nightmare Before Christmas.
That's pretty cool. And I mean, there's lots of people who like do really cool things with tattoos. Like, don't get me wrong. It's just personally not my thing. And when Spaghetto suggested the idea of having a face tattoo for Kayla, I really wasn't in favor of that. Just like my personal belief that like tattoos are kind of not really my.
But it does
thing.
Make sense in the context. But I mean, at the end of the day, at least.
Yeah, like them having being kind of like on the more being on the goth side, and it does make sense. And them
the more
like having like all these little details. Yeah. So yeah, and also it also I think does make them stand out better. To go into what that cross is, so that is I believe it's supposed to be like a peace symbol cross kind of thing. Like that's what. So
I thought that was the AIDS ribbon. I never asked. I don't know why I never asked, but I never had any clue what it is. I know Spaghetto's Christian, so I just figured it was like the cross or some shit. But it also kind of looks like a really long binky.
I can actually see that, yeah. But or actually, if you another way of looking at it, if you kind of like lean back in your chair,
Looks like
and,
a ring
not too
pop.
far to fall, of course. But like, No, I mean, I was gonna say it looks like kind of like a stick figure, like
Oh yeah,
arms out.
like the KFC buckets where were very detailed Colonel head, and then the rest is just a stick figure.
Yeah. But yeah, like Kyoryii did these sprites again. She did a phenomenal
Oh god,
job with
yeah.
them. And you know, I like how other than I mean, granted, again, not that this was necessarily my call, but like other than them being like very provocative, like I think they
Oh
turned
yeah.
out phenomenal. And, like again, they're my favorite. They're actually like one of my favorite characters. Well, both of them, and just the dynamic that they have, their personalities, like they were very fun
Oh
for me to
yeah.
write. And I enjoyed writing. Obviously, you know, with Ruby, we had the choker, you know, her having basically her teeth spilling out, her having like her skirt,
Shortened.
like, you know, it's more
Yeah.
pulled up, and then she has like leggings, which, you know,
You
granted,
don't
like
really
it does
see,
get cut off, so you really can't, you really can't tell, but it's
Yeah.
there. So yeah, so why do they look that way? I'm sure that some people were asked as they were
Because
playing the
we
mod. So
really just like beating our dicks when we play our DDLC mods. That's the answer.
I could say I don't do
What?
that, but
Damn, I'm the only one who goon store.
anyway, so like I said, so when we were coming up with the idea of the characters, I was fine with them being more boy friendly.
Oh yeah.
I guess.
I mean, not
say.
really. Only Ruby.
More.
Ruby has some weird moments with Michael, but that's about it, honestly.
Well, I mean, Kayla actually has. We'll talk about this in episode 2 as well. Kayla also has a little bit of
Yeah,
Michael,
true.
but the backstory is that, you know, they were both kind of boy crazy and girl crazy at one point.
Oh
too.
yeah, I forgot they're both bi.
I mean, canonically, yeah, like canonically, these are the only bi characters.
We need more gay characters,
So,
man. We only have 2.
I'm of the school of thought that, I don't want to make a character gay just for some attempt at a political message. Like if they're gonna be that way, then it should be for
our characters like sucking dick because we say
so.
so. That is my political message to the world.
At the end of the day, the point we were trying to make with Kayla and Ruby is that just because, you know, some people dress a certain way doesn't mean that they can't be good people. That's what we're trying to send. Now, I mean, there of course is a very obvious element of fans.
That wasn't our intention, at least.
Which Spaghetto put like this. Spaghetto was very okay, so granted, when we were making some other characters before this, I had generally gotten my way on designs and stuff like that. So I had kind of used my capital when it came to Kayla and Ruby. So I kind of had to yield or yield a little bit at least to how Kayla and Ruby looked. And again, I didn't want to say like to
things.
over something that's like that's kind of like a minor detail at the end of the day. But I will say I was very worried about how people were going to take the look to Kayla and Ruby, and like for the most part, at least as far as I
all
can,
the
nobody
playtesters
cared.
like them.
It's just like whatever.
Sure.
Yeah, it's like so what? They're like sluts, whatever.
Average high school experience.
Like that's like the attitude. That's kind of the attitude.
Every high school has those those bitches.
Yeah, obviously, you know, in grade school you probably obviously. Well, like, you know, like high school.
Oh, I thought you were talking about like primary school. I was like, huh?
I did. When
I hear grade school, I think primary for some reason. I don't know why.
Okay, well, think like late middle school and high school.
That sounds better.
Like obviously, you know, there's certain people who obviously, you know, they take the dress code to the extreme, probably go over the line, and that's kind of like what Kayla and Ruby are. So like, you know, like I said, they're just naturally rebellious characters. So this is their way of like showing being rebellious, and obviously, you know, they're very openly sexual, I guess you can say. So they're obviously trying to get
Thankfully
that attention.
Not overly sexual. Honestly, if they were, I would have toned that shit down myself.
I mean, even then, I mean, I wasn't a big fan of them being like overly sexualized. Now, I mean, I didn't mind them like having a different design, like uniform designs than the other characters. Like, I mean, I was for that.
They have their moments, but
like with Ruby and Kayla, like I thought that was like kind of like the shirt does like, you know, Spaghetto. I remember him saying like, you know, with Kayla, it's like, oh yeah, it's like girls like will apparently like, you know, like button their shirts down like how Kayla has in. Claim it's not slutty or whatever, which I have to say, at least from my experience of all of girls interacting with them throughout my life, I can say I never once interacted with a girl that was like that.
Yeah, neither have I. I mean, I don't interact with girls at all, but that's a different story.
And then Ruby, obviously, you know, it's very. I mean, Kayla, I was like very hesitant, but like obviously, you know, the undershirt was like we like stiffly like blackened around the bra area, so I was like, okay, I'll yield to that. Ruby, I was very very hesitant with like. Just the fact that it's like she's literally looks like a
Yeah.
fucking whore. Like there's just
She's a
no two ways
GTA
about it. She looks like
prostitute.
a fucking whore, and
I've
I'm not
shot
afraid to
her as
say that.
Franklin quite
Yeah,
a few
literally.
times.
Yeah, so like I had to come up with like an in-universe reason, like to like how to get away with that, in which I mentioned it
They're
in
just
episode 2.
hypersexuals, I
Really
guess.
talk about. Well, yeah, basically, I guess. Well, again, we'll
Yeah.
talk about more of that when we get to episode 2. But yeah, like so that was the. Yeah, I was like very nervous about like how like people were gonna react, but fortunately the reaction was
Yeah, it
not
was a hell of a
like
lot more
that.
tamer
So
than I was
I guess
expecting,
my
at least.
yeah, I mean, if I obviously had sole authority, like I mean, they would have been different. Like you know, Ruby bunnying down her shirt like that. I mean, I've seen plenty of girls do that before. Like I probably would have had Ruby take it to that extent. I was the fan of showing her gut like that. Like the skirt being pulled up. Like yeah, I mean, I know girls who have done that before as well. So that made sense. I wasn't ever a fan of like her just showing her belly button. I thought that was a little excessive.
Yeah.
Like obviously, you know, Ruby showing a little bit of cleavage like that, I was I was fine with that. And I just was never behind the whole like Kayla like having her shirt buttoned down like this. I just never thought it made sense. Like her sleeve being rolled up to have like that like undershirt she's wearing, like that's fine. I thought that was like a cool idea, but yeah, I never
Yeah.
you know
We can
that
start
part.
skimming through the scene now. I'm
So
pretty sure
I hope
we've talked about the characters. There's not a whole lot that happens in the scene, just Michael joining and whatnot. There's some
yeah.
references in
So
here.
yeah, so there, you know, there's an Attack on Titan reference that kind of got shoehorned in there. You know, Kayla
Yeah.
thought about we need 4 members. The harken back to
Attack on
the
Titan.
DDLC.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
that
there it
cringe
is.
shit.
And then
Oh yeah, here we
here
go.
was one thing I enjoyed as well. I enjoyed writing the chemistry between Shiro and Kayla, and originally as well. Like throughout the first drafts of the whole story, like I mean, I realized that Shiro seemed to interact with Kayla a lot more than he did with Ruby. So I would like sometimes go back and like just make sure that they at least have some lines of dialogue between each other. In the first episode, like I mean, it was like an
Yeah.
appropriate level, both of them. As far as like in the later episodes, it's like I remember that's like, you know, like one time it's like in an episode when like Shiro, like after like Shiro has a falling out with Kayla and Ruby, like Spaghetto pitched the idea. It's like, well, let's just have her talk to Kayla. I was like, you know, I think that like those two interact with each other. We haven't really had a one-on-one moment with Shiro and
Yeah.
Ruby, so let's have that. And I think that was
Yeah.
the right decision. Yeah, just having that, like them having their dialogue, and also just like Kayla just like giving Shiro like shit for being a smart ass. Like, yeah, I think that it just does a good job of like just like kind of just summing up the characters. Like, you know, Kayla is kind of like more of a realistic Natsuki, I guess. You know, just like super
Yeah.
chill. You know, Kayla's obviously feisty, but you know, nice. Shiro, you know, he's like he's like a big lovable nerd. You know, he's a bit dorky, a bit of a dweeb. Yeah, I don't know why I said dorky there, but
saying
a
our words.
bit of a dweeb. But you know, like all in all, the point is just like, you know, like this presents like possible for Michael. It's like, hey, you know, you got like you have like a band of misfits, but like you seem to get
Oh
along.
shit, we should have made
so, like,
one of them
maybe
have
you
a
can be friends
Misfits
with
shirt
them.
now that you say it.
Yeah, so even though Michael's whole plan was like, I don't know if I really want to join the anime club, but like, you know, he gets sold pretty quick.
I would too if there was that many boobies.
That, you know, like this seems like and then obviously when Michael says he'll join, it's like this little hop,
Oh,
like this
yeah.
is something all the girls did in
Yeah.
DLC. So
Shiro
and
can
then, again,
hop?
yeah, I mean there was an
Yeah.
earthquake after,
Goddamn. Goddamn, you know, and then Irma hit
Yeah.
afterward. This mod secretly takes place.
yeah, and then
2015
Caleb mentioning that it's like, you know, it's like, you know, like can't sign up like members automatically, which is that's kind of like a bit of a part of a broader plot point within the story.
Yeah.
So yeah, so then Michael, yeah, not a whole lot happens
they
here.
tell
And
him
then
to
Michael
off the
fucks his
fuck off.
day,
I'll go to damn Oh yeah, and then there's
and then this is another character as well. Michael's mom, or Amber. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, I was fine with the design with Michael's mom, or I guess I'll just call her Amber, or I mean, call her mom.
Mommy.
I guess I don't know. You know, that also reminds me. So one thing that I will say with that interacting with Spaghetto, like on design, because originally, so obviously, later on, Joel had more of an input on design, but for the most part, it was just me, Spaghetto, and Kyoryii. Because Kyoryii did all the sprites. So Spaghetto seemed to have like a common, and obviously, of course, we would show Joel the designs as well to like just get his input, but like he didn't really get like much say in design until like later on. I remember. Yeah, one thing that seemed to be always a common trend is that with anytime we had a female character was like Spaghetto was like wanting to like she has like big old anime titties and basically looks like a whore. And I was just like, I mean, I think that he largely said that as a joke. Up until, of course, with Kale and Ruby, then I was just like, what? But anyways, the buzz speaks for itself. But, but yeah, I mean, there's not really a whole lot to say about Michael Mother's design. Like, we had like a little, I guess, it's a jaded crystal. I remember, but like we gave her a necklace. We gave her, I think actually canonically she's a ginger.
Yeah, true.
Funny enough. Yeah, one thing that like I realized after the fact that was kind of weird is like the hand is kind of in a very weird position, which I wish we fixed in retrospect, but it is what it is now. So, of course, this is, Michael's mom just acting like a mom, which I will say, like, when writing the interactions as well, it's like I just kind of thought back to my interactions with my mom, just like kind of like use that basis, like the mom doing typical the mom doing typical motherly things, like just like being like joking, teasing,
love to see it.
like all that. It's like, oh, are you interested in this girl?
Proper mom writing.
Yeah, typical mother son.
Yes. No dad, because we were lazy. We didn't feel like chilling out for more sprites.
Even though Michael's dad technically does make an appearance later on in the story. Yeah, I mean, there's not really a whole lot much to say.
Yeah, we can probably just skim through it. And then we got the one very special scene at the end, which is, I think, didn't you write that just to make Kai and Randy more intimidating?
Yeah, that was the whole basis. So I think this will cut the credits.
Yeah.
That's going to be post-credit scene. So Spaghetto did do the credits
for
this, and I will say he did a phenomenal job.
Nice.
Yeah, he did. Like, I don't know how he did this, but it's like it looks like it's like he somehow took like an actual tree, or at least part of the actual tree, like kind of like I guess a clip of like wind blowing through it, and then like a drawing of an actual tree, and just somehow like split the two, and it did very well.
Me.
And hey, Joel, there you are, episode 2.
I'm gangster like that.
Yeah, so even though I will probably be doing the large majority of talking about the story throughout these episodes,
Episode 2 is my show, bitches!
Yeah, and then you can also obviously talk about all the code stuff that went into it.
Fucking agony, that's all I gotta say.
Yeah, I mean, we're only just we'll go through each of the
so
credits,
the CG
like,
was only done by Kuta did a CG this episode?
So the credits are for
the entire arc. Okay,
arc.
I thought so.
So so through 1 through 5, it's these are the people who did all
I thought so. I thought so.
Yeah, so
Kyoryii coming clutching every single fucking sprite except for the MC sprites.
Again, we've massively Storm made the MC sprites at Habalaka. Halababaka.
Is that actually how you're supposed to say that? Dude, we gotta get a pronunciation.
Know, dude.
We gotta get a pronunciation. One of them is not there.
Yep. Well, yeah. It was of course the gold for the coding and technical support.
We love to see it. Special thanks to.
That was this was Spaghetto's friends for general inspiration. Advice. Then this is my thing, which I'll explain later. I'll explain in episode 2 for what that's
episode 2 stuff. Special thanks. Oh yeah,
and then that's your.
Which, by the way, that's not how that went down, but we'll get into that next episode too. Playtesters,
and then of course all the playtesters.
Yeah.
Which again, they offered some great advice.
Andrew, Ella, and K-Camp just kept bullying the mod. We did not get past episode 2.
Oh, what can you do?
Dedicated to Sam.
Of course, dedicated.
Yes, very true, very true. All right, now we get.
Yeah, I will say, like the credits were always a good part.
Yeah.
I will also say, like throughout the arcs as well, to point this out, it's like it's always a different time of day. So like you could think of episode 1, I mean the first arc credits being kind of the daytime, and episode 2, I believe it's like
afternoonish, sunset.
Then episode 3, it's at night, and episode 4, I think it's like so. That was always done intentionally. The time of day.
Oh boy.
This is something I went back.
I designed Chester's sprites actually, mostly me at least. think you two had input too, but that was mostly me. I still have the reference sheet actually. I can pull that up.
I remember we actually had a bit of a debate about how Chester should look.
Yeah, and I remember because I wanted to have input on some character design, and then y'all just threw Chester at me.
I remember I wanted him to be a blonde, and I wanted him to like be a have like a bit of a scrub beard, but like the role of Chester is like he's just like kind of like one of those reoccurring side characters that you see throughout the story. That's literally free. It's like any cartoon, any anime, like there's always like at least that one character that's always like kind of like a side character that you just see occasionally pops up is kind of somewhat memorable, and then you'll see later along down the line.
Yeah, but this entire scene,
that's kind of what Chester's.
Yeah. This entire scene is just essentially to just make them seem more scary because we're gangster like that.
Yeah, because again, the concern was that Kai wasn't like people had a hard time taking Kai seriously, and so this scene was like try to like say it's like maybe you should consider.
I mean, you know it's bad seriously. If it's your fucking if it's your coder that's saying that.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, you pointed this out to me, and other people did as well. So yeah, basically, yeah. So Kai and Randy kind of just basically just shake down this guy here because he owes these two money, so it's just a classic kind of shakedown. So obviously he gets what he wants, and then it's kind of just a stereotypical. It's like we have big plans, so looking forward.
Big plans, big dicks, big fists. You already know how this goes.
Yeah.
All right, that's it for the first episode. I can't wait to see how this. Yeah. This is. Let's see. 2 hours and 1 minute. Holy shit! We yapped. We're yap gods. I'm beginning to feel like a yap god. Yap god.
Yeah, I will also point out as well that this scene also kind of did a good job, I feel like, of kind of just better adding depth to Kai's character and just like to talk about like his motivation and such. So, because like like the whole point of him like he just wants to get back at everybody for like all for how he was treated and just try to make the school society kind of like what he always felt like it should be. So
yeah,
and then he feels that way. It's like everybody will be more equal. So I kind of wanted to like at least like kind of start laying the scenes because like if you're gonna have a villain, you have to have him or her have like some motivation.
Yeah,
so that's realistic. So I felt like that the scene was like a good thing to have, and I think it made the episode better.
Yep.
And also like I like the idea. I always wanted to have like this idea of like post credits. Felt like it like interesting, gives people something to look forward to the next episode. So
yeah. But that's it.
Well,
I'm gonna be dead honest.
Yep,
I've had to piss for the past hour and a half.
Yeah, same. I gotta use the can myself, but